Hello and welcome to part 2 and now a quick run through of Focus Pro. Having looked at the daily rules in part 1, we must now consider how our daily rules are applied. Daily rules are applied in one of two ways, through working schedules or through a rota. We'll consider the working schedule in part 2 and we'll move on to the rota in part 3. A working schedule is a pattern of daily rules that is continuously repeated. We can select the length of the working schedule. Often 7 days is used, meaning the pattern of daily rules is repeated each week. If a company, however, operated a pattern of, say, 1 week of early shift, 1 week of middle shift, and 1 week of late shifts, for example, we could create a 21-day working schedule and enter a start date for the beginning of that pattern. Sticking with the 7-day working schedule then, we'll simply select the specific daily rule that we wish each employee who will be assigned to this schedule to work on each individual day. We just select from the drop-down list as so. So I might have a different rule for a Friday. We might go home early on a Friday, for example. Put that one in there. If we have a non-contractual work day, such as a Saturday or a Sunday, we leave the first column blank. However, if an employee does work on a non-contractual day, we can still allocate them to a daily rule by putting it in Schedule B. This could be a weekend overtime rule, for example. The schedule can also provide a facility to help where employees could work on alternative daily rules depending upon their circumstances. So if we select some alternative daily rules in the other columns, so we can see that if a employee clocks in at around 9 o'clock in the morning, it'll be daily rule 9 till 5, which will be allocated to him. Our employee clocks in at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, he's going to be allocated to daily rule 2 till 7, and so on. So it's quite a powerful way of assigning rules, very useful for when a company wishes to swap shifts on a regular basis. It means that you don't need to manually pre-plan anything within Focus. The auto allocation of the daily rules should handle it for you. Okay, before we have a look at the rota in part 3, we've just got enough time to have a quick look at the weekly rule. Open that up. A weekly rule is used where overtime is calculated by the amount of time worked across a week. So a value of 40 hours in rate 1 here will mean that any time worked above 40 hours at basic can be automatically paid to a different rate, an overtime rate, for example. Here we're flowing any extra hours into rate 2. Conversely, if an employee has accrued overtime, say by working a Saturday, but has actually failed to meet their target hours at basic, then we can claw back any time in the overtime rate to make up any shortfall in the basic rate. So here we're clawing back from rate 3 to rate 2 to make up any shortfall in the 40 hours they're required to work at basic at rate 1. Just like in the daily rule, we can create scripts that are applied to the weekly rule. So these scripts are again often used to calculate special bonus payments, for example. Okay, so that concludes part 2. We'd like you to move forward now on to part 3, where we'll have a look at the rota. Thank you.